वेलकम टू द सियासत डेली। मेरा नाम है फ़ायदा किटवानी। आज हम कुछ मेहमानों के साथ बैठे हैं हमारे जो हैदराबाद के बहुत ही जाने माने एक्टिविस्ट्स हैं, स्टूडेंट एक्टिविस्ट्स भी हैं हमारे पास। हमारे साथ एक सोशो पॉलिटिकल एक्टिविस्ट भी हैं। आइए मुलाकात करते हैं। वेलकम टू द सियासत डेली। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर गिविंग अस योर टाइम। मैं आपका तारुफ़ करवा देती हूँ। ये है शीबा मैम, जो एक सोशो पॉलिटिकल एक्टिविस्ट है, इंडिपेंडेंट एक्टिविस्ट है। CA NRC के टाइम पे काफ़ी प्रोटेस्ट में पार्ट लिया है, कई बार अरेस्ट भी हुई है। बाकी हमारे साथ सुमेरा है, सारा है एंड आयशा है, जो स्टूडेंट एक्टिविस्ट हैं। अगर आप लोग अपने बारे में कुछ बताना चाहें टू आवर ऑडियंस। मैम आपसे शुरू करते हैं, बताइए।
Shiba Manai ji. And yeah, I think I'm more of a social and political activist. जहाँ पर भी किसी को कोई भी ऐसी इशू है जो humanitarian grounds पे सही नहीं है, I land there and I help people in whatever way I can. I like standing for what is right and what I believe is right. So it may be different from a lot of other people who think it is or it may not be right, but I'd like to believe that I stand for what I believe is right. So that's about it, I suppose.
Thank you so much. Sumaira.
I'm Sumaira Farooq, and I'm just a student here for standing for what is right. As a Muslim, I feel like it is my responsibility to be here to talk about what needs to be talked about.
Sara.
My name is Sara Farooq, and I am an engineer by profession.
Aisha.
I'm Aisha Sultana, and I'm currently doing my master's in computer science engineering, and I'm also a part-time employee in a very reputed educational institute. So I'm always believe standing up for my rights, because I mean, like, ever since I was a kid, I used to even stand up for my classmates who used to be bullied. So I believe, it is our responsibility to speak when we are, asked to do so.
ओके, हम लोग आज यहाँ कर्नाटका के हिजाब कंट्रोवर्सी के ऊपर बात करने के लिए जमा हुए हैं एक साथ। फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट लेट्स जस्ट क्लैरिफाई जो कन्फ्यूजन है कि हिजाब क्या है, नक़ाब क्या है, बुरखा क्या है, इसके ऊपर एक क्लैरिफिकेशन कि एग्जैक्टली है क्या। कैन यू डिफरेंशिएट बिटवीन द थ्री, हिजाब, नक़ाब एंड बुरखा? ये क्या है, तीन डिफरेंसेस बिटवीन द थ्री? कोई बताना चाहेंगे? गो अहेड सारा।
Please.
Like the Quran quotes, Muslim women are required to lower their gaze and put down their veils. So what they wear is supposed to be a long garment which covers themselves, and the reason specified for that is so that they can be identified as Muslim women and not be harassed or gazed upon or not considered any other random female who is not a Muslim by religion. So to be identified as Muslims, we wear it, and we consider it as obligation to cover all parts of our body, our aura, and burqa has become a norm. Like, we have adopted a thing called burqa which covers a part of our body. It is different in different places. Some people wear jilbab. Different countries have adopted different things for that. The ruling is just to cover your body as much as you can. Only your face and your hands can be visible. And the niqab is a personal choice. And
I'd like to add in on that. So generally when we say the word hijab, it's usually associated with a garment. It's not a garment. Hijab is an entire process of modesty. What we are trying to create is a modest world. Now there is a lot of debate about what is modest, what isn't modest, and so on and so forth. So for people who are believing Muslims, we'd like to believe that being modest is being able to cover yourself. We feel the choice to make to our liberation is when you don't have to conform to the beauty standards that are designed by today's world. That is a true liberation that I have. You feel safe, you feel protected, you feel, I don't know any woman who would not have felt uncomfortable at any point in her life with how men, ogle at you or watch you or see you. When you're walking down a park, you're in a college, you're going out for shopping or anyway, you tend to feel uncomfortable. I know people, I have friends who wear a simple shalwar kameez, and I'm saying simple shalwar kameez because maybe jeans is not simple, and we as a society, so there is a lot of patriarchy infused as well with how we think. So there's a lot of people, they say कि अगर कोई jeans पहन रहा है तो मतलब I think उनको आपने एक liberty दे दी है कि आप मुझे देख लें. Although I would give my life to protect the right of any woman to wear jeans or whatever she chooses to wear. But what do I believe in? I believe in, I have made a choice of wearing this in this certain fashion. Now again, like I said, it's not just the garment. Garment is probably the exterior of, or the manifestation of the concept of what modesty is. There's also something very important that most of the time people think hijab is only for women. A very important thing that people sort of take their focus off from. And here religion, Islam, I'm going to separate Islam from the patriarchy that we live in. So it exists in all places, right? In all religions, all sections of the society and all of that. So thanks to the patriarchy, there is a lot of focus on what women should or shouldn't do. But if you look at the verses in Quran, it starts with the first guidance to the men that says, lower your gaze. That's your hijab. More than what you're supposed to wear.
True.
And then it tells the women to cover themselves. Which means the onus of hijab is primarily more on men than women. Having said that, it doesn't take away from the fact that there's a huge responsibility on us to cover ourselves, to not corrupt the society, as they say. Again, this can be very controversial for a lot of feminists. This can be very controversial for a lot of, and I believe I'm a feminist myself. For a lot of people who think about being very inclusive, is how does your what you wear corrupt the society? The answer to that is, like I said, I will stand for your right to choose what you want. Having said that, it is a proven scientific fact that men respond to visuals. Their way of stimulation is through visuals. So what they see is going to have an impact to them. Versus a woman, we do not respond to visuals. We respond to emotional stimulation. If a guy talks nicely to us, I know, young kids who fall for guys who just talk nicely. And for all you know that they are monsters inside. But maybe externally they've spoken very politely and very nicely, and young kids would probably fall for that. That's because women are wired differently and men are wired differently. So when you have something that's going to be tantalizing you, you are going to sort of, create a certain imbalance in how people react. Again, I'm not taking away the responsibility of men and saying, oh, but just because a woman is dressed a certain way, men are not supposed to be, focusing on what they need and things like that. But this is about the entire balance, the whole concept of hijab, of modesty, that's equally spread across. And also niqab, I think, is a part of the hijab. That's an optional thing that women choose, they choose to kind of go with. But yeah, I guess hijab is not just the garment. That's my point.
Okay. So talking about the Karnataka hijab controversy, सबसे पहले रिएक्शन क्या था आपका जब आपको पता चला कि ऐसी कुछ चीज़ इंडिया में भी हो रही है बाकी मुल्क है दुनिया में जहाँ पे ये हो चुका है पहले भी, आपका पहला रिएक्शन क्या था when you got to know that something like this is happening to girls within an educational institution?
See, first we felt betrayed, okay? Like you just wake up one day and you realize that you are no longer safe. So we felt that, okay, if today it could happen to them, tomorrow it will be us. They are no longer safe, like our sisters, they are basically a part of us. We feel their pain. I was like, okay, now today they are doing this to them, they might harass them tomorrow, they'll do something else to them. And tomorrow they might come to Hyderabad, they might ask us, okay, don't do this, don't do that. So, we used to sleep with a sense of security that our rights are protected by the government of India, by the constitution. But as soon as I woke up to this news, I was very disappointed. I could not believe this is happening in India. I was like, okay, this used to happen in, different Western countries where they had a different form of government.
I agree.
ahead.
Even I felt like there was a sense of tolerance, like the secularism, what we talk about. Our school management, our school principals used to understand why we wear the hijab. They used to accept us as we are. But there is a phobia or whatever is going on within the people of our nation, that they are scared to let us in as we are. They're scared of us Muslims. A single piece of wheel is causing them to debate about us. They are raising slogans. They are taking counter steps against us. If we wear this, they're wearing something else and showing us. So there are many steps being taken due to certain Islamophobia, the fear that is growing within themselves.
So,
What was your reaction when something like this happened? So close to our state, I could say.
So I would say that the current government, BJP, that's backed by RSS, from the time that they've come here, they've been attacking us one after the other. I did not see it as a surprise. I know for a fact that this has been happening at different places at different times in different ways. I thought, okay, something has come to light, and it is probably going to die down a natural death. But it had to be politicized because it sort of coincides very well with elections. So for starters, I would say that some part of me is dehumanized to all of this. And maybe it's a very politically incorrect statement to say for somebody who is a social and political activist, and empathy and understanding is supposed to be a quality that we're supposed to have. But so much of this that you keep hearing about what's happening to Muslims and how they're being targeted, that some part of me is slightly dehumanized, and I'm seeing it as, oh, this is expected in how things are shaping up right now. So first it was that, and then it moved to feeling a sense of anger, because it's not just not only are you messing with the attire and with the girls, but you're messing with the entire education. And that is the most fundamental thing that we need as a country. Forget about Muslims, forget about non-Muslims. We need education. We need our girls to do well. Beti bachao, beti padhao, और दूसरी तरफ बेटी को नंगा करो. So these are very conflicting things that we are sort of approaching as a country. So I think there's a lot of frustration, disappointment, I would say.
Okay. Now you are students, definitely you must have faced some sort of discrimination in your educational institution, ma'am, even you. Some sort of discrimination that you face because of the way you dress, because of your niqab, or because of wearing hijab. Have you ever faced any discrimination?
Not discrimination exactly, but people comment on your attire, people do object of what you wear. We can, me being from a conservative and a very Islamic family, I think that I wear my hijab so that I can visibly assert to them that this is my identity. At school, be it college, be it my graduation, all along I was questioned why I need my veil, if it is the face veil or if it is the hijab. They would check us thoroughly before exams, and I would tell them that if there are female lecturers, it is okay for me to show them, they can allow, I can sit without my veil or without my hijab. But if there are male lecturers, or the examiner is a male person is there, so I would want to wear my veil. So then they would object, they would ask me to get a letter, they would make me run before the exam and get a declaration that you were being allowed to write your exam with the veil on. And once or twice we have had this discrimination in college or at school, but not mostly. We were accepted as we are, but now this intolerance is being raised due to political reasons, I believe.
It usually happens during these times only, when we are going to different centers for examinations or for our vivas or practicals, or even interviews or like that. So it usually happens then, and they question us, ki, how are you, why are you the same question that is raised in Karnataka, then how are other students not allowed to be like you, and how it is not normal, and they question us, and it is not it is mostly just extra precautions, be it airport security or be it bar cafe security or any places like that. It is an extra precaution. They ask you extra questions, they get thorough with you, and those are the only objections that we face so far.
Ma'am, would you like to share something on this?
It's like asking a black, have you ever been discriminated? Of course you have been. I mean, of course you feel it. Sometimes subtly, sometimes obviously, sometimes not so obvious. You know, it's something that happens. You know, there was a very interesting comedy sketch that I saw recently of Hassan Minhaj. He's a political satirist, right?
Yes, we're aware.
So there's this little very old clip that is sort of going viral. I don't know if any of you have seen it.
I have,
where he
yeah.
shows this piece of cloth around his neck and he says, you know, this is really stylish. But the moment it moves about 6 inches over, and this is dangerous. You are, you know, when you're wearing it in your neck, you're gallivanting like Audrey Hepburn. But the moment it goes right up, you are somebody who's probably trying to murder Audrey Hepburn.
Yes.
So it's very beautifully captured in this joke and this satire that the moment that piece of cloth moves up, you know, like 6
to your head.
inches above your neck, suddenly that becomes very dangerous. And I would not blame a lot of people either, is because there is very less awareness of what this means. There is a lot of, you know, comparison that is constantly being spoken about. The moment people are wearing hijab, there are people who are wearing saffron scarves and moving around. And then the court order says that nobody's supposed to display the religious attires, not the saffron, shawls, and not the hijab. But the fact that I feel the court now has to consider is the fact that the saffron shawls are not the same as hijab. Saffron shawls are not a part of the religion. They are not compulsory. They are not imperative to you being a Hindu. It's not. It's an option. It's a free choice. Whereas in Islam, if you are a following Muslim, there is no option but to be doing that. So when you make the choice to be a Muslim, this is what you follow, and this is very critical to your following the religion, just like it is for the Sikhs to wear the turban. Why are you being so accommodative of the turban and not of the hijab? That's my point one that I keep thinking about. Point two is, for instance, in most educational institutions, everything starts with a prayer, with a puja. It starts with your lighting of lamps, your annual days, your sports days, etc. That's not a Muslim ritual, but it happens over there. You have certain pictures, you have certain pujas. Now, if I bring a mosque inside the institution and I say I want the mosque there, and I want to offer all my 5 times of prayers over there, now, and if I go to court, will the court now say, ye idol and ye mosque, everybody please stop doing it? That is important for you as a non-Muslim. For you, those idols are important. It's not as equal as a masjid, because we can go to a mosque, we can pray anywhere, we just spread a prayer mat, and that place is now, there is flexibility in that area, right? But there is no flexibility in that area in the non-Muslim world. For them, those idols are important. For them, your lighting of lamp is important. So this, I feel, is a little unfair. I feel like this has to be included now. We're really looking forward to the court judgment, and I really hope that they consider the fact that it's chalk and cheese. Saffron shawls and hijabs are not the same. So saying something like this and expecting us to be following, and that has led to a lot of torture to women across Karnataka. People are being stripped down. To a Muslim woman, taking off their hijab is like stripping them down. So this is something that is really concerning, and I would really hope that all of us are able to work towards sorting this out.
True that, inshallah, hopefully. Okay. So it's been a while it's been years since Muslim women have started wearing the hijab. It has been a really long practice that Muslim women have been wearing hijab. क्या लगता है आपको एकदम ये जो चेंज आया है लोगों में, that they've started opposing hijab? Why has this started? Keeping maybe politics aside, why has this started all of a sudden?
I think you can't separate religion and politics at this point in time across the world. it is intermingled. There is no way of putting politics aside. It is because of politics that this is happening towards a variety of religions. So I don't know how to answer this question by removing politics out of the scenario.
Let's bring in politics. Please tell me.
It is definitely politics. So you see, like I think I'd earlier mentioned this. Subramaniam Swamy told back in the day that BJP had the approach of, not BJP, the Congress. They had the approach, and that was working for all the governments at that point in time, including BJP, where they wanted to appease the Muslims, keep them united, keep them in their control. They wanted to keep the Muslims comfortable. That would ensure them a huge majority, and they would have to worry less about a large number. And they would want to keep the Hindus divided through the caste systems. 2014, they changed the strategy. They said, let's unite the Hindus because that's a majority, and let's create a minority out of an existing minority. Let's create the them versus us narrative. And that has been playing so strong that I don't know about the world. I wouldn't want to talk about the world politics, but at least in India, this narrative is what is leading to the sudden, issue with hijab. See, like my friend here, my young friend here has just mentioned that she's being questioned when she's going for exams, or maybe for jobs, or maybe when you're going out for shopping, or whatever as it may be. A lot of times it's because of lack of knowledge, but people know that it's something that you don't touch, you don't talk about, because it's a belief system. I may not understand why you're doing it, I may not understand the relevance of it, but I will not question it. I'm not going to go and ask my Sikh brother, why do you have to wear a turban? Can you take that off for me right now? I'm not comfortable with you looking as Sikh as you are. I don't think I would ever say that, because I know for a fact that this is an untouchable area. But if the government promotes that kind of tension, that kind of narrative, that kind of encouragement that I can question the very basic ethics and ethos of religion, then I'm going to start questioning. I'm one day going to go to my Sikh brother and say, I'm not liking your turban right now, or I'm not liking the beard that you're sporting right now, or why do you have the knives that you guys use? Oh my God, I feel, threatened. But you won't be, because they are one of the best people who do the most amount of social work. But if somebody is going to keep pushing a narrative against them, I'm going to get the courage to now go and question them. That's exactly what's happening right now. All of this is nothing but a result of the narrative that is being drawn and pushed. And they're trying to, create parallels. They're trying to, compare apples and oranges all the time. They keep saying, but if that Muslim has a choice of not wearing a hijab or not wearing a burqa, then if it's a matter of choice, then it is not an important thing for you. What they're not realizing is the choice that the Constitution gives me is a right to choose my religion. Like Article 25 gives us the right to believe in what we want to believe. So for all you know, that I could be believing that there is no God at all. I could be an atheist, and I'm allowed to believe like that. The fact that you're constantly questioning that, the fact that you're saying, why a hijab, why a this, why a that, well, you have to respect what I believe in. That is the entire point of the Constitution. That is the entire point of creating a democracy that is inclusive of all religions and beliefs. You can't say you can be a Muslim, but please be Muslim in the version that I like you to be. Please don't tell me be a Muslim without a hijab, be a Muslim without a niqab, be a Muslim without a burqa, or be a Muslim with a burqa. I mean, don't even tell me to wear a hijab or wear a burqa. I decide that. It's my relationship with my God and what I want to believe in. And the Constitution allows me to play that out in the way that I believe it is best. It's almost like telling a pregnant woman on how she should be a mother. Please go ahead and have wine. Why are you being so conservative? Why can't you just have wine? So what if you're pregnant? But the rules say of pregnancy that you cannot have wine. It's just basic. It's very, very fundamental. And I think we're just trying to create more and more controversy, and we're trying to create an entire environment of intolerance. I think that's the primary premise of all of this. We're trying to create a premise of intolerance, and there's all that retaliation that's happening. Even an instant where that girl Muskan said Allahu Akbar in retaliation to a Jai Shri Ram. The first problem in this entire situation is, why are there external expressions of religion? what you are doing and what you are believing in, why does it have to be that loud? Why is that getting mixed up with education? And if that can get mixed up with education, then the entire question of why is somebody wearing a hijab, etc., this is an oxymoron. It doesn't make any sense. The thing that is very flabbergasting, is extremely surprising, is the fact that you do not want to constantly being told on how to be a kind of person. You are encroaching on my right to privacy, my right to belief, my right to religion, my right to education, my right to exist, my identity. So that, I think, is a fundamental problem that we're trying to sort of deal with at this moment.
तो कुछ लोग हैं जो अब कह रहे हैं कि स्कूल स्टूडेंट्स हैं, ये माइनर्स हैं, इनसे ज़बरदस्ती हिजाब करवाया जा रहा है, ज़बरदस्ती नक़ाब पहनाया जा रहा है. दिस इज़ ऑल फोर्स्ड अपॉन देम एंड इट्स नॉट देयर पर्सनल चॉइस. कुछ लड़कियां अपनी मर्ज़ी से ही हिजाब करती हैं. दे फॉलो द रिलीजियस प्रैक्टिसेस, जो रिलीजन जैसे बताता है वो फॉलो करने की कोशिश करती हैं. डोंट यू थिंक बाय banning these or prohibiting hijab, it will be like you are stealing or you are robbing them of their rights?
Yes, I agree. Hijab is considered like it's a symbol of my faith. Okay, when I wear it, I have to wear it as a part of my identity. So when people are objecting it, they cannot say that it's oppressing me or it's it should be removed, because if they think that I am oppressed and they are trying to be a savior for me, तो उन लोगों को पहले ये करना चाहिए, they should ask me कि if I am oppressed. No, it's my personal choice, that's why I am wearing it. I think you guys would agree कि nobody is forced in Islam. There is no compulsion or there is no torture or no particularly ज़बरदस्ती आपको कोई नहीं हिजाब पहना सकते. इट इज़ योर चॉइस.
I'd like to add from my personal experience that जैसा कि आप बोले about minors, I definitely always wanted to wear hijab when I was little. Since I was in first grade, I used to look up to when I would get my first burqa, when I would get my first hijab. It was appealing to me. I wanted to wear it. I wanted to have myself covered up. I hated the glances of men, even if I was a little. It protects me. It makes me feel safe. So it was never an oppression. It was never my mom asking me to wear it. It was always me, Mama, I want a new burqa. I want a new hijab.
And I would like to add, see, you said that liberals, they are saying that since minors are being forced, we want to remove hijab rule, okay? So, but why are teachers being forced to remove hijab in outside schools? We have seen many videos circulating. It was very sad, okay, to witness that. They have worn this attire for centuries, okay? Like, you pass by a shop and a man has not seen how you look, but now suddenly he knows how you look. It was very bad, okay? Teachers, government colleges, okay, they are not allowing girls to wear hijab. I mean, girl students, they are above 18, they can make the choices, but why teachers and college students, they were asked to remove it? And what I would like to add is, in Islam, a girl is recommended to wear hijab after she reaches the age of puberty, that is teenage, 13, 14, okay? So that is not so small. And at the age of 13, 14, girls, you know, they start rebelling, okay? You know how teenage is. So no parents in this era, they don't have the, you know, ability to force their kids to wear that. It's a personal choice.
True indeed. So you're saying that hijab is a religious obligation, but still you have a choice to make using your own brains if you want to follow it or not, right?
See, what I would like to add is, we see little sick kids, okay? They are age of 10, 12, they start wearing the turban, okay? Because they see that, okay, the elders in our family, they are doing it. So we don't say that, okay, remove turban and all because minors may be forced to wear it. No. They follow a particular family rule, they follow a particular religion, they are not forced at the, you know, at the point of gun. It's just, you know, we just suggest them, okay, you can do this, that's it.
It is a religious compulsion, but you are allowed to practice or not to practice. It is upon myself. It is not the government's opinion or right to tell me that I should or I should not.
Literally, I agree with you on that. Okay, ma'am, your view on this.
So, you know, I'm seeing a lot of haters saying that this is not Sharia rule, this is not Islamic rule, and what makes you think it's all right for you to practice what you're practicing? Well, breaking news, it's not RSS rule either. It's not a Christian missionary either. It's not, a Sikh rule either. That is exactly what it is. It is a democracy that's supposed to allow people to follow their faiths and beliefs. That is the most important thing that I would want people to sort of understand. That you wearing your burqa or your turban or your bindi or your mangalsutra or your gungat doesn't make you somebody who does not respect your country. My religion tells me that my country is supposed to be prioritized. That is what is most important for us. There are no two different things कि ये ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है या वो ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. What I follow, my iman, my faith, my moral meter is telling me, my moral compass, is telling me that religion has to be, that my land has to be prioritized, and I'm supposed to do everything to be loyal to the land. So the fact that you're constantly questioning our Indianness is also a problem. See, while we're talking about hijab, there are so many layers of problems that are associated with what's happening. It's not just the hijab, no? It's the entire thing. You're questioning the Indianness of the people who are wearing the hijab. You're questioning the integrity of the people. You're questioning, are you not treating country first? I mean, you're coming up with all sorts of irrelevant questions. Do you ask the same question to a woman who's sporting a bindi? Do you go and ask her, is your religion first, is your God first, or is your nation first? What she may answer is a different story. Your answer, whether you think your religion is first or your country is first, is a different story. But are you asking a non-Muslim woman with a bindi and a mangalsutra? Are you asking a Christian missionary people who are following their religion and also propagating it as they should, as they absolutely should? Anybody who thinks something is good for the other, their brother or their sister, in religion or outside of religion, should by all means go ahead and propagate, whether it's Islam, whether it's Hinduism, whether it's Christianity. I mean, by all means, go ahead and do that. And Article 25 gives you that liberty to also propagate. It's as simple as, I'm a plus size woman. I am forever propagating and telling everybody that please do not put on weight. Please, lose your weight. It has these certain side effects. Because I believe what is good for me is good for you, and what is harmful for me is harmful for you. So if I believe that what I believe in is good and I want to propagate, by all means, please do that. I'm open to listening to your opinions, as you should be to listening to mine. It's as simple as that.
How does this hijab issue, excuse me please, how does this hijab issue affect your mental health? Overall, throughout in the world, if we see a lot of people objecting to hijab, how does it affect your mental health?
I think, well, from a world point of view, I may not necessarily have a world view about what's happening across the entire globe, but I would, since I focus a lot on Indian politics and Indian scenarios, I would say that I think mentally it's deprecating. It's creating, layer after layer. You're attacking every aspect of being a Muslim. So for Muslims, you're constantly harassing us mentally by one day calling, when you're wearing a hijab, it's called hijab jihad. You do well in education, you call it UPSC jihad. Muslims, non-Muslims, they get married with each other and you call that a certain jihad. I mean, and recent films like, there was this recent film from, which had Akshay Kumar and Ajay Devgan and Suryavansham or something like that. I didn't bother seeing it, and I'm glad I didn't. But so many people who saw it told me, and there were so many reviews that I sort of went through. There is this entire narrative. Now they're trying to up their narrative of, like there is this section where they say a certain section of uneducated Muslims are associated with terror and terrorism and so on and so forth. Now they're changing the narrative, and they're changing the pointers and the scales to saying Muslims that are educated are also now falling in the terrorism rules. Muslims who offer 5-time prayers. So in that, I saw one little clip where it shows that there is this person who's moving out of the salah, the namaz, and immediately moving on to going and doing some kind of an illicit activity. So you're basically now painting a new image of us, that we are, people who are supposed to be scared with, you're people who are supposed to be attacked with. And so there are a lot of, the political attacks are very well thought out and planned and politicized. But at a local level, for a viewer, for a commoner, for somebody who doesn't know much about Muslims or Islam, or there may be people who've probably never interacted with a Muslim individual. For them, you're reiterating this, and that will spill back in hate. Because they would be like, oh, this person is dressed a certain way, so you're supposed to stay away from them. And I remember, I've been born and brought up in Hyderabad, apart from my travels that I've done. I remember during the first pandemic, I went to Lifestyle, and everybody was following the protocols very severely, and they were, they were not allowing people to enter inside without a coupon. So you had this numbering, and only X number of people are allowed inside the mall and things like that. So we were inside and we were going through the entire thing. They had these various sanitizer stations at all points. And I remember a salesperson following only me and checking with me all throughout, asking me, have you sanitized, have you sanitized, have you sanitized? And also he told me that, there is a certain order in which you're allowed, otherwise you won't be allowed. So you need to finish fast and leave because you have a certain time for how much you can be here, because there is a waiting outside. And it felt fishy, because not only was he stopping me, but my son that time was probably 3.5 years old. He kept stopping my son too. And I think when he was telling me, I could feel that it was not right, and he was doing it because the way he was thinking. But when he was doing that to my son, who probably doesn't even understand the meaning of religion yet, that is when it sort of ticked me off, and I immediately spoke to the superiors, and I said, is this some kind of an instruction you're giving out as an organization, that you're supposed to be extra precautious with Muslims because they're more dangerous? Or is it something this person is doing on a personal level? Turns out he was doing it on a personal level, and the brand or the mall didn't have any such rules or any such guidances. But that one instance made me realize that something that I had never felt in so many years, in a place like Hyderabad, one person somewhere made me feel that. And while I spoke out against it, and while I did what I did, I don't know how many people must be facing that, and how many people are able to talk about it. So, is it affecting our mental health? Hell yes, it is. All these things are constantly putting you on a certain, you're on a defensive. And then when we react, it's like, oh, they reacted. But you provoked the reaction. So of course it's affecting your mental health. Sometimes you tend to overthink. There are times when they're putting a keen eye because maybe of some other reason, maybe the organization rules and all of that. You tend to think, are they doing that because I'm veiled? So it is affecting my mental health, right? And I'm constantly feeling, I'm constantly being made to feel like an outsider because of the narrative. So the question is, am I really an outsider? Why suddenly from owning the place, I am now sitting on the fence trying to defend every time and say, oh, I am an Indian, this land belongs to me, because I need to wear a hijab, because, oh, I'm wearing a hijab, so I'm not a terrorist, because. So of course it's affecting, how everybody is thinking in certain ways. Yes, it is.
It is. It can get traumatizing when such instances come up.
Yeah, comments like from people, they affect us a lot. Like one guy told me, like, do you have something on your face that you're covering? And once a principal questioned me saying, why do you wear it? Do you have a problem, or are you married that you're wearing your burqa or your niqab? So these comments affect us a lot, especially during your college days or during examinations. These comments, the lecturer coming in and checking on you specifically because you're wearing it, it affects our studies. It affects how we perform. It affects how we write the exam. The stare that they make and how they look at us. It really affects us. Even a lecturer, an invigilator, in fact, asked me, "Is my being here offending you, or is my being here? Is it not right?" And he used to ask me to get signature from the authorities, from the examination room, that I am allowed to sit in my burqa and niqab. So yeah, wearing it can be very hard mentally. Like, you get to face a lot of a trauma kind of situation.
I feel like it affects our parents as well. I hear my parents constantly saying that what kind of a generation are my kids going to live in. because at their in their lifetime they did not have to face anything like this, and day by day, little by little, it keeps increasing. So I feel like more than us, my parents are worried about what the future of India, what the future of their children is going to look like.
True that indeed. Have you ever been robbed of an opportunity because of your attire? Has it ever happened to any of you?
I have been tried to be robbed of, but I was brave enough to speak up for it. It was an inter-school competition or something like that, and they asked for volunteers or participants, whoever wanted to. And I came up and they asked me if I would be ready to not wear my hijab, and I said no. If you want me, I come with my hijab. That is my identity, and they did not have any other better option.
Exactly. I played for my school and college team always, and it was with the hijab. And in my junior college, that was not necessary. Others were not wearing it, but my teacher had made me the captain of the team, and she couldn't do anything because I told that I'll be the captain of the cricket team with my will. So I was it like that. So following me, 2 others were also there. So we played like that. We won like that itself. So we stood up for our rights, and it was acceptable back then. It was acceptable by our teachers, our authorities, and it is not now. So that is very scary for it.
It is.
I'd like to sort of correct that a little bit here. I would say that India hasn't changed as much as what we see in the news and on TV. In real life, there are people who are still, tolerant, very tolerant, and they're all right with us and all of that. What we are talking about is only a certain section that probably anonymously exists on social media, and some of it offline. But again, I think the numbers are much lesser than what's been projected out in mainstream media, if I may say.
Many people are with us. They're supporting.
Of course, by all means. And I kind of think that a lot of times, like when you get onto the ground reality is always different. There are so many times that people don't have the time to even think about these issues. All they care about is their 3-square meal and their food and their whatever. So one aspect is that, and another aspect is also this, that in some ways it's sort of penetrating into the common man's mind and hearts. But I don't think it's as big as that they're trying to project and try to create a sense of fear psychosis in Muslims. Having said that, we are also on the genocide watch list. So it isn't that nothing is happening, and it is also not that everything is happening. We're somewhere in between, and I think this is a time to sort of fight it out and ensure that there is no awareness of who we are as as Muslims, as identity, as Indian Muslims, and I hope for a better future because of that. I mean, I really hope that if we keep having this kind of a dialogue and discussion, and it should change. I think, thank you Siyasat and thank you Faiza, thank you all of you for doing this. I'm sure this is going to have some positive impact on how our generations are going to be going forward.
We hope for the same too, ma'am. We hope for the same. One more question that I have for you all is that people who are anti-hijab or who oppose hijab tend to say that it is imposed on us and it is oppressive. Do you feel that your hijab or your attire oppresses you in any way?
So I think I saw this response of Dalia Mujahid in America on a very popular show of Trevor Noah, if all of you said, and she very beautifully put it. She said, well, if wearing a hijab is considered as being oppressed, that means you're calling that woman powerless and she's not in control. So what does it say about the source from where this power is coming? That means only if a woman is open in public about her sexuality is when she is powerful. Very beautifully summed up and brought out that you are not allowing a woman to privatize her sexuality, her beauty. You want it to be public, and if she can't do that, then she's oppressed. So if you are really talking about choices and being inclusive and accommodative, then you are not giving the woman the right to privatize what she wants to privatize, right?
True.
So this is again this is completely opposing to the concept of choice and feminism and what we stand for, equality, inclusiveness. It's sort of opposing everything that you think is right today, right? So
yeah, definitely. She
definitely not oppressed.
Definitely, she's put it in a beautiful way. My last question to you all would be, do you have a hijabi role model that you follow or that you look up to?
Muna Al-Kurd, like she is an activist from Palestine, and she and her brother, they are very active activists, and they are fighting for their rights. Like fighting from a country like Israel is not an easy job, but as you can see, she is like completely covered up in her hijab, and she is very vocal, and she is very powerful as well. Okay, she is fighting such a oppressive country, so I believe like she is my role model, and I look up to her.
What about you, Sarah?
I would say all the Sahabas, all the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, the females, the mothers of the believers, all the wives of the prophets are definitely an example. Zainab al-Ghazali is also an example. She was from Egypt, and also she started an organization in Egypt, in a monarchy, in a place where the political rulers wouldn't allow her to practice the religion. She fought for it, and she even went to jail because of that. And she started an organization who promotes Da'i and promotes Islam, propagates them throughout the world also. So after all the torture, she didn't give up her religion, and she made a point for people to realize it's not just your religion, it is your way of life. It is what you practice day in and day out. So there are many examples like that. Dr. Azra Batul is there, Zainab al-Ghazali is another one of those. So I have a lot of Islamic scholars to look up to.
One thing I would like to add here is Islam never stopped us from education. Okay, the first word which was revealed of the Holy Quran to our Prophet was Iqra, which means read. Okay, so just imagine the Quran, it's so huge, and the first word revealed was read. And it emphasizes that you must seek education. Okay, there is a hadith, I would like to say it in Urdu, ilm hasil karo chahe tumhe Cheen jana pade. Okay, so मक्का से चीन बहुत दूर था, ठीक है, फिर भी कहा गया कि आप लोग चाहे चाइना क्यों ना जाना पड़े, एजुकेशन हासिल करिए. ठीक है, एक एक हदीस सीखने के लिए, कुछ न्यू चीज़ सीखने के लिए यहाँ से यहाँ तक ट्रैवल करते थे. इस्लाम कभी औरतों को रोके नहीं कि आप लोग नहीं पढ़ सकते या कुछ भी नहीं कर सकते. इनफैक्ट इस्लाम गिव राइट्स टू वुमेन. जब यूरोप में राइट्स नहीं थे, इतनी पुरानी बैकवर्ड थिंकिंग थी यूरोपियंस की, उससे पहले से इस्लाम गिव राइट्स टू वुमेन कि आप लोगों के पास प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स है, आप लोगों के पास एजुकेशन राइट्स है, जो करना चाहे आप कर सकते, बस अपना हिजाब पहन के रहिए ताकि आपकी सेफ्टी हो, आप सेफ गार्डेड हो, बस दैट्स इट. ओके, एंड वो लोग, इस्लाम तो कभी हम लोगों को नहीं रोका, इनफैक्ट इट एनकरेज्ड अस, ओके, टू गो एंड सीक एजुकेशन.
The question was about role models, to reel back in.
Yes, again.
And my personal role model is, I have an aunt, Uzma Jalaluddin. She's one of the most renowned writers. She has won the award, Cosmopolitan Book of the Year award, and she has achieved all this by in her hijab. She was not oppressed, she was not objectified, she overcame all through this, and this is, I wanted to take her name because it is the real time, it is the 21st century, and this is how this should be normalized. It should be the normal, a woman's dream to become like her. So that, and my sister, she's a physiotherapist. She has achieved all, she has completed all her masters, all her bachelor's degree in her hijab, and she is now a practicing physiotherapist. Hijab does not hinder our occupation, does not hinder our daily lives, and the government should understand this.
Definitely.
The government is stopping us from seeking education in hijab, but hijab is not stopping us from seeking education.
Exactly.
True that.
Very well said.
True that, indeed. Definitely it is our right. Hijab should not hinder in what we do or it is our way of life, and it shouldn't be held up against us. Right, I think with that we have come to the end of our session. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Okay, I am leaving with this hope and prayer that a positive ruling comes out from our judiciary. We have faith in our judiciary, and we hope that it rules in favor of the rights of the girls, of Muslim women. Thank you so much for joining us at the Siyasat Daily. This is me, Faiza Kirmani, signing out.